Welcome to Vermonters in Business, where we highlight some of the very best business leaders in our state and the amazing things they're doing in their communities.
Let's roll.
All right, let's get it started. Episode 2 of Vermonters in Business. So this was a little idea that Travis and I had where we wanted to bring people in that we work with or know that are doing great things in our community, great thing at their businesses, and give them a little highlight opportunity to talk about themselves and shine and talk about what they're doing to make Vermont great. So Monica Chapman is one of our first guests, which is super exciting.
Thank you.
We've had known Monica for a while now, and she is 18 years of experience in the fire and water damage industries, which in the insurance world we deal with all the time. There's lots of claims, and they're one of our go-tos. She is also a 2021 Vermont Rising Star 40 Under 40, and she is no stranger to the Kinney Insurance Agency. So welcome, Monica.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So this is kind of a fun little start we like to do for those podcasts. I'm Drew Kinney with the Kinney Insurance Agency. This is Travis Spencer. He's one of our senior account managers. And Travis is very passionate about business owners. He's very active in our local B&I chapters. He's started multiple businesses on his own, candles, mead.
Yep.
What else?
Yeah, that's whatever my wife wants to do.
Yep, I love it. I love it. But there's a key thing in Vermont is everyone has we have certain tastes, and everyone has certain ways that we like certain things, and so we have developed the Vermont Hot Seat questions. Monica, are you ready to be in the hot seat?
Oh, I think so.
All right, let's roll. All right, what are you having with your maple syrup? Pancakes or waffles?
Ooh, I think waffles because it can hold more maple syrup, right?
I
Isn't that the
agree.
idea?
I agree with you. Our first guest went pancakes because he thought they would absorb more.
Oh, no, I'm getting the dip in.
Yeah, that's fair. I like it.
Scooper.
A perfect day for you. Is that a winter day at the mountain or a summer day at the lake?
Oh, summer day at the lake.
Yep.
I'm over winter.
To be fair, we're recording this in March, so everybody's over
so I'm
winter.
a little biased at the moment.
We'll see what the questions are in July when we're talking with people. And
It'll still be summer.
Yeah, probably.
For me, yeah.
And what's your favorite restaurant in the state?
Ooh, favorite restaurant in the state. That's a tricky one.
We don't have to hold you to one, so if there's one or two that come to mind, feel
what
free.
is my favorite restaurant? It used to be, I'm stuck. I don't know. I'm a good old Lunig's. Lunig's is
classic.
very touristy, but it's classic.
Yep.
What else do I like? I've heard, I don't know. I'm going to go with Lunig's.
All right. I like it. It's a good answer. Classic.
Okay.
And then in the summer, when it's creamy season, what is your creamy order?
First of all, I'd like to say creamy is like a Vermont thing.
Yeah,
it's not everywhere else.
I didn't call it soft serve for a reason.
What this means is soft serve, which I learned when I moved here many, many years ago. But my favorite creamy, I think it's the black raspberry for me.
All right, nice. Yeah.
Black raspberry creamy.
It is. It is a good one. So that is the Vermont Hot Seat questions. I hope you could handle the heat. I think you did good. I mean,
thanks.
I would have expected a restaurant to come a little faster, but
I know I didn't do so well on that. Yeah.
Going out's tough. There's a lot of great options.
It is. True.
So as I mentioned before, and kind of an easy way to slide into things is the insurance agency. We deal with claims all the time, and Puroclean is one of our go-to providers for that. I'll transition to Travis here and let him kind of guide you through what you do at Puroclean and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So we had the fun questions. Now we want to get down to business. So who is Puroclean and how did you end up there?
Oh, interesting. So Puroclean is a disaster restoration company. So we deal with water damage, fire damage. I always like to say, when you're sick, you go to the doctor. When your house is sick, you call Puroclean.
I love it.
That's my little tagline.
Yeah,
it's
I
the
like
easiest
it.
way to put it. Interesting enough, I grew up in Maine before I moved here, and I started as an office manager at a restoration company because the gentleman that owned it, I worked with his wife at a makeup counter, and she was like, oh, they're looking for an office manager, and I was 20 years old, and I was like, hey, I need a real job. And I was like, this, so I started working for them, and I learned the ropes, and I really had somebody that believed in me when I was young that owned that business and just kept kind of giving me opportunities. And one of the opportunities was to open a franchise for him in Vermont, which I did, and then ultimately landed here and had a family. And then I decided to join forces with Puroclean because of the community involvement and just the reputation. And so Daryl and I kind of combined forces. We opened a construction arm of the business, and here we are, and I'm a partner in Puroclean, and
Shout out CMD.
and CMD, which is our construction division, and I've been in Vermont since 2009, I think. So I'm officially a Vermonter, everybody.
All right.
Just so we're
Qualifies.
clear. You
I love it.
cannot hold me.
Well, I love the Maine connection because I'm a
Okay.
native Mainer myself.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like,
I'm born and raised Vermont, for the record. seven generations.
I was worried when I first moved here. Like, Vermont
Yeah.
is like a small community, and
Yeah.
everybody really trusts each other, and it's hard to break into that. So, I pride myself on feeling like I am truly a Vermonter. even
Yeah.
though I grew up in
I
Maine.
think most
Yeah.
people have accepted you with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what is your role at Puroclean?
I do a little bit of everything. So I kind of have all the touch points. I mean, I can go one day doing strategic planning, and I could be a technician in the field the next day. So it just depends on what's needed and what the day looks like. The interesting thing about our business is it's not a planned thing. So
Yep.
there's water damage and fire damage, and so it just depends on the day. And I do a lot of business development, developing relationships with our clients, but then also on the back end, making sure that we're following through to have the best service you could possibly have in such a disastrous situation. So,
Okay.
Yeah, a
And
little bit of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a little bit
And
of
so
everything.
when should people call the house doctor?
house doctor. Anytime the house is feeling sick, just call the house doctor. No, seriously, what we pride ourselves on too is just like call for anything. If you have questions, like if it's something that you don't necessarily need us for, we can walk you through the process. We're not gonna go do something that is not something you can't handle yourself or don't want to handle yourself. But certainly we're available 24/7, 365 days a week. So I don't care if it's Christmas at midnight. Well, if it was Christmas at midnight, it would be.
Yeah,
that's a good
It'd
point.
be the
We'll
next
figure
day.
that one out later.
But whatever time, sorry, whatever time, whatever place, call. And we're always available. I always try to answer my personal cell phone, but we have a 24-hour office line. And it's kind of weird, but I actually get really excited when my phone rings at like 2 o'clock in the morning because nobody's calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Fair.
And they don't think that's funny, but
Yeah.
It means it's time to work.
it's
Yeah.
time to work. Yeah.
So if someone does have frozen pipes that break or they have a water leak, what are the first steps they should be taking?
Find your water main and turn it off. That is number 1, 10, 15, it's everything. And then any water that you can see, you should soak up. But a lot of times, like 80% of the water you actually can't see. So do what you can, raise furniture up off the floor, do things like that, but just call a professional like Puroclean and we'll come and we can at least test it out and give you peace of mind to make sure that you've captured everything or let you know what else needs to be done for dry out and sort of things like that.
And that's, we got another flyover for us.
F-35 pause.
And here we go. But you bring up a great point. Anytime someone buys a house, they really should find out, where those water mains are and how to shut that water off.
Yeah, you'd be
100%.
surprised how many people just don't have any idea
Right.
or a clue. In fact, I know there was a carrier that we worked with that they were trying to do their best to educate people on where these were, and they even had a program where they would send somebody to the house and they would show them like, all right, here's where your water main is. Here's how you turn off power. Here's how you turn off the gas. All that stuff. So if something happened, they would know. And of course, nobody really took them up on that, but it is an important thing to happen, and not something that you want to be YouTubing when water is gushing into your basement.
Exactly. So if people do have water, what steps do you do when you come in? Like, what's your
So
process?
we send a crew right away and we extract the water. Depending on the materials as far as the house goes, depends on kind of what our scope is. We have industrial drying equipment. We get as much water out as we can, and then we assess and dry as much in place as possible. So the idea is to create the least amount of disturbance to your home as possible. There are times when we do have to remove certain materials, and then we can obviously put them back too.
Yeah.
But our job is to get there. Water damage is actually a lot of science. So it has to do with like once the water kind of goes into the air, how much humidity is there, grains per pound. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of neat, the science aspect to it. But yeah, so we get there and we stop it in its tracks and then we begin the dry out process.
And a lot of people, obviously, when they have water, the next thing they think about is mold. So where
Yep.
do you come in for that process as well?
I'm not like a big mold person. I think it's gotten a little bit scarier than it should be. There's certainly
Yeah.
types of mold that are scary, and certainly if you have some sort of like a respiratory problem or small children are pregnant, I would definitely be concerned. The reality is mold is everywhere, so it's inside and outside. It's just when it's more concentrated. Typically within 48 to 72 hours, you're not going to see mold unless it's like a hot water heater that like steams. If there was a steam situation, you might see it. If you're calling a professional, it's really our job to make sure that mold is not growing unless it was already there to begin with, and that we dry it out properly so you have peace of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, I think when we run into mold situations, it's almost when they haven't called you at first.
Yes.
You know, they try to just mitigate this themselves,
Yep.
and they don't understand the signs that you referenced, or
Yep.
you know, just the fact that it's not just what you see; it's the majority of the water damage you can't see.
You can't see.
And so, anytime it comes up, I know we definitely make it a practice to make sure we get somebody from restoration there to get in there and check out and see exactly what we're dealing with, because it just creates more problems down the road if you don't.
Certainly, if it's not taken care of, in the right environment and the right materials, mold will grow. And you don't want that, because obviously all the things that we talked about, but also just get peace of mind and call somebody.
We should definitely have Monica check the fridge before she leaves.
Yeah.
There might be some mold in there somewhere.
Might be.
As we're getting through winter and we're heading into warmer months, what are some summer prevention tips?
So I'm going to ping in a service here. We
Yeah.
do dryer vent cleaning.
Yeah.
I believe it's around 34% of fires happen from dryer vents. So get your dryer vent cleaned. That's very, very important. And then the biggest thing we see during the summer is people's bib hoses that are frozen during the wintertime. And a lot of people think I have a frost-free. But if
Yeah.
you keep your hose connected, it doesn't work as a frost-free. So we'll have a lot of pipes that are break as soon as it thaws out in the basements. So I would turn off your water in the basement, your feed to the basement, and then turn it on so you kind of can capture and make sure that there's no water there. And then just make sure, as far as groundwater and things of that you're working with local excavators to make sure it's all
Moving to the right places.
move to the right
Yeah.
places, because that's a big thing in New England. I mean, people get water in their basements. It's just what happens. But yeah, I would say dryer vent cleaning is an important tip for people, and not everybody's aware of it. So, and we offer
we've
that
definitely
service,
had.
ironically.
We've had a total burn down relatively recently that was caused from dryer lint.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, and most people don't think about it. They think they're just cleaning out that little thing in the dryer, and no, it's fine, but they don't
No.
realize the buildup year after year after year.
Yep.
And so it is a good preventative maintenance thing, especially, again, for that new homeowner to know where all the systems are, but also, know the last time that dryer's been cleaned out.
Absolutely, and put a sticker on it, just like your furnace that you get cleaned.
Yeah.
Your dryer vent should be cleaned
Yearly
every-
or
I think Burlington, it's mandatory to do every 2 years.
2 years,
So
okay.
2 years at least,
Yep.
if not annually.
yeah.
Anything else we missed that you want to talk about or want to cover?
No, I don't think
Any
so.
hot topics in the industry right now?
Ooh, hot topics in the industry. Yeah, I mean, I think our industry is changing a lot. A lot of times, which what I appreciate about you guys is, you're local and kind of somebody that can bounce off ideas and things like that. Whereas a lot of the insurance companies and agents are really just kind of pressing through to the national companies. So
Right.
we're seeing a lot less of, folks making decisions on the ground or, having eyes on it from locally standing. Yeah, so I think that's kind of a change and a shift in the business
Yeah.
that we're seeing on our end.
Which is great, because I remember when you first joined Puroclean, one of the funny story that I know you won't mind me telling is I remember when you came into our office with Puroclean, and you basically were like, "How do I get more business from
Yeah.
you guys?"
Yeah.
And we always just want to work with providers that do a great job and are, can be there when we need them, and that's what you guys at Puroclean and Monica and Daryl do a great job of is, when we need you, you're out there our customers very quickly. You don't, try to encourage things that they don't need to have done. You really try to guide that customer from the ground up about what they should do in this scenario. And then if for something doesn't work, I can pick up the phone, I can talk to Monica, I can talk to Daryl, and we'll work it out. And that's not always the case. Restoration services that have big brand names all over the place, and they don't have that local presence like you guys. So on the same end of it, where it's nice when you can work with local agencies and the local insurance companies, we also like working on the local side with you because it just helps things go smoother when you can just have a conversation and talk through like what are our options here.
Yeah, and I love being a resource. Like, I love when people call me,
Yeah.
to ask questions. You're never bothering me. That's what I'm there for, is to answer those questions. That's my whole career.
Even at midnight on Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, those are all the questions I had, Monica. I appreciate you coming in
Yeah,
today.
thanks,
Drew,
guys.
anything else?
No, this is it. This has been Vermonters in Business, where our mission is to spread the word on Vermonters doing great things in business in our state. And if you know somebody that is, kicking butt, send them our way. We'd love to have them on the show. We'd love to interview them and spread the word.
Thanks again.
Cool.
That's
Thank
it.
you.